Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine being told that an enormous alien fleet, described with just staggering technological prowess, was observed heading straight towards Earth.
Sounds like pure science fiction, doesn't it?
It really does. But that's the starting point for the account we're diving into today.
Absolutely. And this deep dive, well, it focuses entirely on the claims laid out in source material centered around an individual identified as Dr. Eric Norden.
Okay.
The sources describe him as an external consultant. Apparently, he worked for both NASA, the space agency,
Yeah.
and the NSA, National Security Agency.
Right, NASA and the NSA. And his initial job, before things apparently got, well, wild, it was grounded in pretty serious science, wasn't it?
Totally. Identifying potential space threats.
Hmm.
Things like asteroids, comets, stuff that could actually hit our planet.
Yeah, crucial work, but nothing about alien fleets.
Not at first, no. But in January 2012, according to this account, everything changed. So our mission today is really to walk through the incredibly detailed and frankly pretty startling claims from these sources about this alleged fleet.
Okay, so what it looked like, how it moved.
Exactly. Its capabilities, what happened when it supposedly vanished, and then the events reported by Norden over, like, the next 12 years or so.
All right, let's jump right in. Where did this all supposedly begin? The account says Norden was invited to the McDonald Observatory.
That's right. It's a major research facility near Fort Davis in Texas. Got some serious telescopic power there.
Okay.
And the story goes that using the instruments there, he observed something, well, unprecedented, what the source calls an enormous alien fleet.
Enormous, and he's quoted directly.
Yeah, seeing plenty of huge three-dimensional space objects, and they were flying in a formation, straight line formation.
A straight line.
Yeah.
Specifically towards Earth.
Undeniably on a trajectory towards Earth, according to the source.
Wow, that sounds deliberate, not random. What was his immediate thought?
His immediate impression, as reported, was that they were, quote, technologically highly developed.
I bet.
And the observations they apparently made over the next 3 months seemed to, well, back that up significantly.
3 months just
Yeah.
watching these things. What did they learn? What were their capabilities?
Well, the source details incredible speed, for one. These objects were moving fast, passing millions of kilometers in just a couple of months.
Millions of kilometers. In months.
Yeah. I mean, just think about the propulsion needed for that kind of travel between stars.
It's mind-boggling. And what about what they were made of? The source mentioned something about materials.
Ah, yes. That's one of the most striking claims. Spectroscope data, analyzing the light to see what something's made of,
Right.
reportedly indicated these objects were constructed from materials several thousand times harder than anything ever developed on Earth.
Several thousand times harder.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And put that in perspective.
Oh.
Our strongest alloys, our best composites, they'd be like tissue paper compared to that.
Yeah.
You can absolutely see why the source says this caused quite a bit of worry among the research team.
Worry feels like an understatement. Materials that strong. It implies engineering we just can't even fathom.
Precisely. And then there's the energy signature.
What about that?
Infrared spectrum pictures looking at heat and energy. They reportedly showed something fascinating. Cosmic particles were being deflected.
Deflected? How?
Some energy field similar to the Earth's magnetic field. Now, our field protects us, right, from solar, wind, cosmic rays.
Yeah.
So an artificial energy field doing something similar around these objects, it suggests not just advanced power, but active shielding.
Active shielding, wow. And physically, what did they look like again?
The sources repeatedly describe them as huge three-dimensional L-shaped objects.
L-shaped. That's specific. Not a saucer, not a cigar.
Nope, L-shaped. The source doesn't really speculate why that shape, just consistently describes them that way. It's a detail that really stands out, doesn't it?
It does. So, okay, they're watching these things for months. By January 2013, where did they think they were headed?
Well, based on the path they calculated, I mean, Mars was apparently already far behind the fleet by then.
Okay.
The sources state it was considered reasonable to think that they were approaching our planet. All the signs pointed to Earth.
But until they didn't. This is where it gets even weirder, right?
Exactly. According to the account, something completely unexpected happened. They suddenly disappeared.
Just gone after months of meticulous tracking.
Poof. Vanished. According to Norden's reported account, the team basically considered two main possibilities at the time.
Which were?
Either they had turned some invisibility mode on, or they had simply changed their course really drastically.
Invisibility. I mean, that sounds incredible. But the source connects that to our own tech, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. The account notes that even here on Earth, our own camouflage tech has advanced a lot over the last decade or so. So the idea of true invisibility for a civilization maybe thousands, even millions of years ahead, it starts to seem, well, plausible, you know.
Plausible in that context, maybe. But the bottom line was they couldn't track them.
Correct. Critically, they couldn't spot them anymore, even using the infrared telescope, the one that had picked up their energy signature before.
Nothing. Wow. That sudden disappearance. It must have created this intense period of just uncertainty.
Oh, absolutely. The source describes Norden being pretty uptight throughout the rest of 2013.
You'd think so.
I mean, imagine it. You've tracked this massive, powerful fleet coming towards you for months, and then boom, you don't know where the fleet was, and maybe even more critically, you don't know what their intention was.
Yeah, the why becomes terrifyingly unknown.
And the sources also claim Norden knew the top level of authorities was worried about these findings too. This wasn't just an academic curiosity anymore.
And this apparent concern meant Norden himself was reportedly under protection.
Constant protection of Secret Service agents is how the source puts it. But they weren't just sitting around waiting.
What were they doing?
The account says they spent the entire year of 2013 skeptically watching the skies. Just watching.
Hoping to see something. Or hoping not to.
Both, probably. Norden had apparently calculated that the fleet should have been so close to our planet by then that everyone could see it even without a telescope.
Close enough for naked eye visibility.
That was the calculation, yeah. So the fact they remained invisible, or at least untrackable, it left them completely in the dark.
So they had no idea. Still coming, just cloaked. Or had they turned around, left the solar system?
No way of knowing, just waiting.
A full year of that,
Yeah.
waiting and watching, not knowing. And then the story shifts again, dramatically. Almost exactly a year after they disappeared.
Yes. Norden reportedly got word from a former colleague.
Okay. And the news was?
The fleet, or at least part of it, had shown up again and it landed on the moon.
Landed. On the moon.
That's the claim. This information, according to the source, came from an internal report provided by that colleague.
An internal report. Wow. And was there any evidence mentioned with this report?
Yes, that's another major part of the claim. Visual evidence.
What kind?
The sources claim the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbital Camera photographed the object. You know, the LROC.
NASA's moon orbiter camera.
Exactly. High-resolution stuff. And apparently, these images somehow ended up on Google Moon by accident.
On Google Moon, accidentally. That sounds convenient or maybe unbelievable.
It's definitely a strange detail in the account. But the claim is these images from a legit NASA instrument supposedly show this object.
And what do they reportedly show?
According to the report Norden supposedly saw, they show an unidentified object which has landed in a crater the size of Chicago.
The size of Chicago? A crater that big?
Occupied by this object, yes. The source really emphasizes the scale, saying calling it huge is not even close to an accurate description.
A city-sized object sitting on the moon. That scale is almost impossible to properly imagine.
It really is. Just parked there.
So how did the U.S. government allegedly react to this reappearance and landing on the moon?
Well, according to the account, the response was swift. Just days later, January 15th, 2014.
What happened?
The Department of Defense launched 3 Terrier Orion rockets for NASA's Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia.
3 rockets, DoD launch. And the source says this was in that internal report Norden saw.
Correct. It notes this is stated in the report.
And these launches, were they public?
Labeled top secret, according to the source. And it adds their mission remains a mystery to the general public.
So it certainly looks like an immediate, highly classified response to something major appearing on the moon, doesn't it?
It definitely has that appearance in the narrative, yes. Now, throughout all this, Norden reportedly has expressed significant concern about what would happen if this got out.
If his discoveries were revealed.
Exactly. He apparently points out it could produce a dangerous effect.
He also says something about protecting himself, right? Suggesting personal risk.
Yeah, the quote is, he has to be careful in order to protect myself. So the stakes aren't just global in his view, they're personal.
And he seems convinced that this classified information he claims to have, it could cause massive public trouble.
Deeply convinced. Potential to cause trouble in public regarding the UFO phenomenon is how the source puts his belief.
And he doesn't just mean protests, does he? He talks about bigger consequences.
He goes much further. The potential consequences of a leak, as he reportedly sees it. The breakdown of all religions, as well as the breakdown of society itself.
breakdown of society itself. Those are staggering claims about how fragile things might be if faced with this kind of reality.
Huge claims. And even while making these shocking statements, the source does acknowledge that Norden himself hasn't provided a ton of public detail.
Understandable given the context, maybe.
Right, understanding the level of secrecy that accompanies these reports, as the source puts it. It also sort of concurs with Norden's view on why governments might keep quiet.
Suggesting they'd cover it up.
Yeah, suggesting the government would do anything to cover up the extraterrestrial intervention of this size.
Anything to maintain the status quo, basically. Keep things running as they are.
That seems to be the implication drawn in the sources, yes. And the account wraps up with a final, rather blunt thought, attributed either to Norden or maybe the internal report.
What's that?
It looks like we will have our answers once the fleet lands on Earth.
Wow. Just wait until they land here. Okay, so let's just take a breath and recap this extraordinary account from Dr. Eric Norden as it's presented in our source material.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. An initial sighting back in 2012, this massive L-shaped fleet moving incredibly fast, made of materials thousands of times stronger than ours.
Seemingly shielded by some kind of energy field.
Right. Then they suddenly vanish for almost a whole year.
Only to allegedly reappear, with at least one object described as being the size of Chicago, reportedly landing on the moon.
Which is then followed swiftly by secret U.S. government rocket launches.
And layered over all of this, you have Norden's profound fears about the potential societal fallout, the collapse of religions, society itself, if this information ever got out publicly.
It's an intense narrative. So thinking about the claims presented here, you have this detailed account from someone reportedly consulting for NASA and the NSA.
The mention of potential photographic evidence accidentally appearing on Google Moon.
And Norden's own stated fears about the catastrophic consequences. What are the implications if even a tiny fraction of this account holds any truth?
It's a massive question.
And what does it really mean to be in a position like the source suggests at the end, where we might only get definitive answers if or maybe when such a fleet decides to actually land here on Earth? Well, that's quite a chilling thought to sit with, isn't it?